Right. Today I'll be teaching you about functions in Python and how to make a simple function command, right? It incorporates if and else commands as well. And if you were to do Codecademy, you'd see that it incorporates material from Flow and, well, of course, the main topic, functions. So I'm not going to go too deep into it. However, what I will showcase is how to make a simple project relating to the topics, specifically a project which can determine whether a number is an even number or an odd number. So, just as a formality, I'll put a comment here saying functions. And the first component is that you want to define your function. So you're going to put the define comment here. Well, not comment, command. You put define and you can put my function. Now, you can change the name of this specific component here. You can change the name of your actual function. You don't have to put my function, but I'll just start off by putting my function. And then, of course, your variable. So, if you're doing math, this would be f, and then what you're going to put in here is x. So, I'll put number. So once you have defined my function number, of course you need to actually have your if and else flow. So if number %2 equal 0. Now, what does this mean? In Python, this is basically saying if number divided by 2 has no remainders, i.e. fully divides by 2, like the numbers 8, 16, and 34. So those numbers would apply to here, and this statement would be true for those numbers. Numbers such as 35, 17, 9, 3, they have remainders. So this statement wouldn't apply to them. So if indeed the number is even, i.e. it fully divides by 2, return string number. So whatever number you put in, and that string will have a definition below. Return string number plus, you put plus because you're telling it we're having this component and also next component. A quotes, which is, of course, is an even number. And you can put anything in the code here, but I'll keep things simple and put it there. There's something known as Elif. Now, this is a combination of else if. So, what this is saying is, if number divides by 2 has no remainders, return this. Else, if number blah blah blah, return this. And of course, after that you can put else. Usually you'd put elif in the middle and then else at the last part. This is just continuing it, but also introducing a new scenario. So elif number %2, you're gonna put exclamation mark equal. This means doesn't equal. Usually that symbol means doesn't equal. What this is saying is else if number divided by 2 has a remainder, so it wouldn't have no remainder. You're going to return, of course, string number plus is an odd number. Now you'll see that I'm adding a small spacing here, and that's because if you don't, then it would have no gaps between this squared and, well, whatever number you input it. The plus doesn't necessarily add a space. You have to actually indicate that there's a space by, well, putting a space. It's an odd number, right? So, yeah. And of course, now you're putting else. And else works like this. You have else, and then, of course, you put your condition. What do you want to return? String number. Now this is in case they don't actually put in a number or they put in something quite complicated. And I will recognize that, of course, if you put in something like I or root of minus something or pi or something like that, the program may not necessarily do what you want it to do. So of course it would tell you that whatever you put in, your input is not an input that can be worked with by the program. So this is entertaining all the possible scenarios that can be think of. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to separate your commands now from this block here, because we put all what we want to in that block. And now we're going to actually define our string number. We're going to put number, and this is where you put your input, right? So let's work with 156. Well, you can already tell it's an even number, but let's see if the program agrees. Return value, you're basically saying what do you want it to return when you have to print a return value. You're printing the actual function and the result. So, you know, in math, you have an input which would be x, and you're printing the function acted on x, which would be the y value, right? So this is technically the y value, which was the original x value, which has been acted upon by the function. And of course, now you're telling it to actually print that return value. So know the return value, but now you're printing it so that it can be seen. So it works. 156 is an even number. So what this is the same thing like is f of 156, which is an even number. Of course, I don't actually put 156 there. Of course, let's test a number that we know is odd. Well, 1 is an odd number. What if we tried with a decimal? That's an odd number. Well, because it has 0.0005. But what if we put 0.0004? It also puts an odd number. Now, just to verify, and I'm totally not pulling out a calculator here. Technically speaking, this can divide without a remainder. However, the way the program works, it will say that it's an odd number, so it has flaws. And of course, if I put in sky, yeah, it's going to say not defined. Well, if I put minus 5, what if I put minus 5? Minus 5 odd number, minus 4 even number. Right? Of course, I can't necessarily copy paste any special characters. However, that's the gist of it. And of course, 2 is an even number. So it's simple, 15 lines of code. Of course, I can make it shorter, right? Now, I did say earlier that you can change the name. So, odd or even. So you can name your function whatever you want, just to indicate what the function really does. Determine, right? And of course, then I would put odd or even. Determine, and just make sure. Let's see if it works. Yes, it does. Right. So you can change your name, or you could just put F. Let's see if that works. Yes. Or more direct function. It works. So yes, a simple 15 lines of code. Of course, it can be made smaller, right? But this is it.